When people came to Athens, people came there usually as a sightseer. This was a center for culture and art. It was a center for religion in the world. And people came to Athens as a sightseer. And Paul showed up at Athens with a different perspective. Just like that song we sung. He changes what we see. He changes what we seek. He changes us and everything. Well, Paul showed up as not a sightseer, but a soul winner.
Yeah.
See, sometimes God will have you show up at a mall, and you'll see it as God changes your heart. You were once just looking for all the sales. Look at that sale. Look at that sale. Look at that sale. And then the next thing you know, look at that soul. Look at that soul. Look at that soul. He changes your perspective. You see the people that He's put in your path that He wants you to bless. You see the seeds that He wants you to plant. Someone once said about the city of Athens, it was easier in Athens to find a god than a man. They were a pantheistic society. They believed in many gods. They worshiped every god you can think of. And to cover all their bases, they even had a shrine and an altar to the unknown God. You got to cover your bases. Just in case there's a God out there that they hadn't realized and they didn't want to be disrespectful, so they put one out there, and it was called agnostica. That's the word used for the unknown God, agnostica. That's where we get the word agnostic. Many people who are not atheists call themselves agnostic, saying there's a God somewhere out there, you just can't know Him and no one can know Him. That's where that comes from. But we know the God of the Bible is a relatable God. He reveals Himself as Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. He reveals Himself to mankind, and He wants to have a relationship with us. He's not despondent and distant from us. He wants us to be dependent on Him. He created us, and He calls us to have a relationship with Him.
Yeah.
So, Paul goes to the synagogue, and he did this in every city. He went to the Jews first, and then he went to the non-Jewish community. He went to the Jews first in the synagogue, and he had little to no success. He sowed the seed. He was faithful. He planted the seed. He watered the seed, just like God encourages us to do. He prayed. He encouraged them. But the results are above our pay grade. Have you ever heard that before? The results, that's just above my pay grade. I'm not in the converting people. I'm into challenging people, encouraging people, planting seeds. But God is in the business of changing people.
Yeah.
It's not my job. I just plant seeds. That's the way they were. The Stoics believed everything was a God. And then the Epicureans were the other extreme. They desired pleasure. They weren't about the reason as much as they were the pleasure. They were grounded in experience. They were the crowd that says, YOLO, YOLO, you only live once. Just do it. You know what YOLO leads to? Solo. That's why so many people are flying solo today, because they YOLO one day, all right? So you got to be careful with philosophies. Here, and then he caught his eye, the unknown God. He said, this is my way in. You know the unknown God? No one knows the unknown God. That's why He's the unknown God. He said, I know Him.
Yes.
He's the God of the Bible.
Yes.
I can tell you all about Him. He raised from the dead. And he starts to preach Jesus to the people through the unknown God. And he made the unknown known. We have to always be thinking, how can we introduce Jesus to our friends and family? How can we introduce Jesus to our community? How can we plant seeds in a clever way? A clever way, and say, maybe it will take root today. I will plant it, and I will water it, and I will pray and encourage. But I'll keep introducing people. Because that's the only way. People will not know what you have unless you give it away.
Yeah.
Our faith was never meant to just be private and secret and hope. No, we were supposed to give it away. My wife, she tells me this about weekly. She said, you cannot hold water. And what that means is if I tell you something, then you go tell other people. And it's about I can't say it now. I'm lying, but I about really got in trouble. That was a lot of water spilled. But she told me something, and I went and told my parents, and I said, I just told them to pray about it. And she said, that's how people gossip in the Christian community. You ask someone to pray about it, and then you tell them what it is, and then it came full circle. They told her, we've been praying about this. She said, how you know about this? Well, he told us about it. And then I was in a lot of hot water. So Jackson lost yesterday, and I lost yesterday, okay? But a healthy church, a sign of a healthy church is a church that can't hold the living water. They just spill it out everywhere they go. My little boy brought me a drink one day, and he spilled half of it before he got it to me, but he got it to me. A healthy church is a church that says, God, I know the goodness, I know your goodness, I know your greatness, I know your graciousness, and I can't help but to go into the world and just spill it out everywhere I go. I leave seeds of your grace everywhere I go. Seeds of the gospel message everywhere I go. God is above my pay grade, but you do with them.